What's going on, nation? I'm Scott from MuscularStrength.com, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 arm exercises that I used to do every single arm workout, but not anymore. And in this video, I'm not just going to share with you those exercises. I'm going to explain to you why I don't use them anymore. Then I'm also going to explain to you what you should be doing in order to maximize both your time and your gains while in the gym training. So let's just jump right into the workout. But before we get started, I've had the flu since like last week, so about 4 or 5 days, so that's why I'm a little scruffy, haven't shaved. I think it's the first time I got like chest hair stubble in a video in a long time. So just bear with me, guys. This is my first day on my feet in like 5 days, so thumbs up for that. The first exercise is a reverse grip tricep pushdown, or in this case, I guess you would call it a pull down because you're no longer pushing anymore. Whenever I would go to the gym as a kid, I would always see dudes go over to the tricep pushdown machine, and they would bang out a bunch of sets, overhand, doing a pushdown, and then as soon as they were done, they would do an equal amount of sets this way. So I always just assumed from a very young age that you were hitting the triceps heads differently, doing an overhand grip versus an underhand grip. And a lot of you watching this video right now are probably saying to yourselves, yeah, that's exactly why I do it like that too. Well, the triceps is not responsible for rotation of the forearm, guys, okay? All the triceps are responsible for is extension of the elbow and shoulder joints. So as long as you're extending your elbow, it doesn't matter which way your hand is facing. However, it does start to matter as you progress with your workouts and you get stronger. Now, going back to the exercise that you're not supposed to do, so the reverse way, the only reason I can think that you might want to do the reverse grip tricep pushdown is because you're having a hard time feeling this exercise in your triceps. And what this movement does is it kind of forces you to lock out at the bottom because you know you're not fully extended until you get that lockout down here. And in most cases, this is when you start to feel it more in your triceps, which leads you to believe that it's a great exercise because you're feeling it more. When in reality, the only reason why you're probably not feeling the traditional tricep pushdown with an overhand grip in your triceps is because when you get to the bottom, you're not going down all the way. You're probably stopping about here versus there. And that little bit makes a difference. You have got to be able to push all the way down and then fully extend at the bottom and flex those triceps. And as long as you're doing it like this, you're good to go. And there's also a lot more benefits to doing it the overhand way. And the number one most important one is how much weight you can lift. There will come to a point where you're not able to pull down as much weight as you can push down. And you can also get your body over the bar a little bit to help you with some forced reps or cheat reps as you get towards the ends of your sets if you want to max it out. So let's say you're doing 8 to 10 repetitions, and you're going through your reps, you're feeling good, and then you get to 8 and you can't quite do it, you can kind of cheat it and get it down and flex and take advantage of the eccentric portion of the movement. We've talked about this in my cheat and recover type videos. So if you're doing this exercise and you're doing reverse grip, you're doing it wrong. You need to go overhand. Only way you're going to be able to change which part of your triceps you're targeting, for example, if you want to target your long head more, it's not by reversing the grip, it would be by changing your arm position. So if you wanted to hit more long head, this isn't the way to do it. The way to do it would be to pick an exercise like a skull crusher or an overhead tricep extension where your arm is actually elevated over your head like this as you perform the movement. And I just punched this thing like 3 times, trying to extend. I was afraid if I went like this would hit me in the face. Anyways, moving on to the next exercise. The second exercise is a concentration curl. Guys, I can't even tell you the last time I did this exercise in any of my arm workouts because at the end of the day, if you're trying to build more muscle, you need to overload, okay? You need to maximize the amount of tension you're placing on that muscle. And a concentration curl just isn't one of those exercises where you're going to be able to overload or even use momentum or cheat reps properly. If anything, if you try to do a cheat rep on this exercise, you're just going to end up hurting yourself because your elbow is locked in against your thigh. I wouldn't recommend doing it. Now, why are concentration curls used? Well, if you have a hard time targeting your biceps and really feeling the activation, a concentration curl is perfect for you. It's going to allow you to take advantage of full range of motion, all the way down, all the way up, and because your elbow is locked in place, it's taking out any of the instability you might have if you're doing a traditional curl standing up, where your elbow is moving back and forward like this, okay? As you go to curl up, especially for beginners, we have a tendency to move our elbow back ever so slightly, and that takes tension off the bicep. And if that's happening, then you're not building a strong mind-muscle connection, and if that's not happening, your bicep workouts are going to be terrible. So if you're currently training and you're having a hard time isolating your biceps, then it makes sense to get in here like this and do a concentration curl so you can focus on activating both bicep heads properly on every single repetition. However, if you do have great mind-muscle connection, you shouldn't be using a concentration curl. You should be focusing on exercises that are going to allow you to overload your biceps with as much weight as possible and as safely as possible. So if you want to stick to a dumbbell curl, make sure when you do the dumbbell curl that you're able to go all the way up and all the way down. And the same thing like I just showed you guys with the pushdowns. If you're trying to go for 8 to 10 repetitions of curls, and you're alternating one, just like this, and you're trying to get 8 to 10, and by the time you get to 8, you start to get stuck. It's okay to force out a couple cheat reps using a little bit of momentum to take advantage of the eccentric portion of the movement. So what I mean by that is, when you get to your 8th, 9th, and 10th rep, if you're having a hard time, you can use a bit of momentum to throw the weight up. Then once you get to the top, flex and squeeze your bicep as hard as you can, and then fight the negative on the way down. And then that way you're able to take advantage of mechanical tension and metabolic stress with those last few repetitions. But remember, whenever you guys use any sort of momentum or cheat reps, it's not going to be the entire set. It's only going to be those last few reps that you normally wouldn't have been able to get. So you can actually use a workout partner too. If your workout partner wants to step in and bring you to the top and then allow you to do the negative on your own, that's fine as well. But when an exercise like this, it's just easy enough to swing up, reset, flex your core, and control the negative. And now the last exercise is actually an exercise that I wouldn't recommend you do in your workouts ever, all right? And it's a dumbbell curl with your palms facing in, and then when you get to about halfway, you turn it into a regular curl. So you're basically going from half hammer to half regular dumbbell curl. And the reason why I say I would never do this exercise ever is because you have to make a decision on what you're doing when you're arm training. A hammer curl isn't training the biceps directly, okay? It's attacking the brachialis and brachioradialis. That's what the exercise is intended for. When biceps training, so you're trying to target both heads of your biceps, you want to have your hands turned out like this. Supination of the forearm is one of the functions of the biceps. So when you're in this position, you're already activating your biceps so that as you go up, you're targeting them properly. And you want to make sure that you maintain that supination on the way down so that that last little bit at the bottom is still targeting your biceps. The reason why people like to do this is because you can lift a lot more weight doing it this way, because you're not putting all the tension on the biceps. We always talk about this. How do we maximize tension on the muscle we're training? How do we focus on it as hard as we can? Well, when it comes to biceps curling, keeping your palms facing forward the entire time and controlling it all the way up and all the way down is the only way you're going to be able to do it. So if you're currently turning your biceps curl into a half hammer, half curl, don't do that. Now, one thing to add to this, you can get more biceps activation by supinating at the top of the movement. And that's where I think people get screwed up with this exercise, is they hear that you're supposed to supinate during the rep in order to maximize how much recruitment of your biceps that you're getting on every single repetition. Well, when people say that, they don't mean starting here and go like this, okay? What we mean is, if you're going to supinate throughout the movement, you're already starting with good form. When you get to the top, now we're at the top, that is where you get that extra bit of supination, okay? So you're already at the top, now spin it in and get that extra bit of bicep activation there, and then go back down. So there you guys have it. Those are my 3 exercises that I used to do all the time, but not anymore. So if you're doing any of them, now you know how to correct them. And if you're doing that last one, you know why you should be staying away from it. And if you are going to supinate, you know to only do it at the top. One more thing before I let you guys leave. My app has been launched for the iPhone and Android. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, links are down in the info section below. And if you want to get started with any of my programs for 1 month free, just go to my website. An email box will pop up, muscularstrength.com. Enter your email. Boom, 1 month free, just like that. Have a great weekend, and as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys. Got